Hey guys, I'm Justin with Texas Bushcraft, and today we're going to be doing a short review on the Palladium Pampa High boots. These are the leathers, and I'm just going to tell you guys what I think and kind of just go over exactly what they're about. Stay tuned. So before we get into the review of the boot, I'm gonna kind of go over my views on boots, my views on footwear in general. I don't really like wearing shoes when I'm out, mainly because I don't like my boots, shoes, socks, pants, myself at all getting wet regardless of the temperature, unless I'm purposely doing it. I just don't like it. It's a pet peeve of mine, and I try to avoid it when possible. So the easiest way for me, rather than having a pair of boots, taking them off, putting them on every time I cross water or walk through some, dense vegetation with a bunch of dew on it, I decide to go barefoot most of the time. And but here recently I had an encounter with a snake that kind of made me rethink my decision there, partially. But about 6 months ago, probably about that long, probably about 6 months ago, I was down near the river in this tall Johnson grass, probably chest high, and I'm walking through it barefoot because there's a mulberry tree over there. I wanted to check to see if it had any fruit on it. And I'm walking, minding my own business, barefoot. I step down and it's warm. Okay, that's strange. So I look down, I jump back, and I scream like a girl. I'm not gonna lie, I scream like a girl. I jump backwards, and I look, and there's a snake swimming around. So I stepped on a snake barefoot, which is a terrifying thing. And I'm not sure exactly what kind of snake it was. It was dark colored. It managed to go down in a hole before I even got a good look at it. And honestly, I didn't want a good look at it. I was a little scared, just a little bit. So that kind of made me rethink my decision on boots. Now, the pet peeve of hating being wet is still there. I still take my boots off every time I cross the water or have to go through, something extremely wet to where I'm gonna get wet or my boots are gonna get wet. Don't like it. So with that out of the way, my kind of philosophy and reasoning behind buying a pair of boots, with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and start the review. These are the Palladium Pampa High leathers. They run about $100 on Amazon, and they have another version of these which are canvas, and I think they're 15-20 bucks cheaper. I'm not really sure exactly, but when I was searching for boots, I wanted something lightweight and flexible, and the ones I originally saw were the canvas ones, but because they're canvas, they pick up any type of burrs, stickers, cockleburrs, anything. And I'm walking through tall grass all the time. I don't want to have to be picking those out when I'm sitting at camp. So I opted for the leather ones. Now, I've had these leathers for, I don't know, 6 months, maybe, yeah, probably about that long. And I've worn them every time I've gone out, which is about that many times, 6 times. I normally go out probably once or twice a month. And I love these boots. I love everything about these boots. But my view on boots are a little bit different than most people. I want my boots to be thin, like I was saying before, flexible, and bulletproof. And if they can, all weather. Now, you can't buy a winter boot for summer occasion. Your feet are going to sweat, you're going to get blisters. So rather than that, you buy a summer boot, if you want to call it that, or just a regular boot without any insulation, and then you have your socks as insulation. And that's what I'm opting for here. So one thing I like most about this boot is part of this design is it has this rubber head that comes over the toe. Now what that does is when you're going forward and any type of debris, sharp stick, grass, stickers, whatever is coming in this way. Now I don't expect for something to come through your boot at you, to get into your toe or nothing. But what this does is keeps this area protected, because there's two spots on a boot that gives out first, at least in my experience. Here, you're gonna get that where your boot starts to peel up from the sole here, and then back here where you get blowouts. So this is essentially preventing that initial break in anything that could fail in this seam here. And that's what I like most about this boot when it comes to the design. Everything else is pretty straightforward. It's got reinforced leather back here. It's got a tab for you to pull up, to get your boot on. I don't ever use that. And it's got some kind of, I'm assuming, brass eyelets here. And I've yet to replace the shoestrings with paracord. I will eventually. I'll probably use black or even this same color brown. But these boots are not insulated at all. You've got one layer of leather folded over, sewn, and then on the inside here you've got a really thin canvas material. And I'm okay with that. I don't want a boot. I'd rather my feet be comfortable than warm, I'd rather them be a little bit cold than hot. So rather than getting an insulative boot, I've got these, and I use wool socks. And there's not a lot of room to play with these. I could probably fit 2 pairs of wool socks on, and that's all I think I'd ever need. I don't think I'd need that. One's probably good enough for me. So on the insulative value, there isn't any. Let's pull out this sole or insole here. This, you could do better. It's just some boring foam insulation, or not insulation, padding that's really not gonna do a lot. So I suggest getting some Dr. Scholl's inserts or something similar to that. But let's take a look at the stitching in here. So I don't know, let's see how well you can get in there. There you go. See, there you go. You can see that stitching in there, the way it attaches that bottom sole area. That's some really high quality stitching there. I'm not gonna worry about these boots coming apart on me, especially if I take good care of them, which I plan on doing. Buy some new insoles. These are run-of-the-mill boring insoles that aren't going to really do much for protection. So when I first got these, I treated them immediately with some leather conditioner that keeps them soft but also makes them a little bit more waterproof. And I wouldn't be able to tell you the name of the stuff that I used, but you can even use it's a mixture of beeswax, coconut oil, and you can use mineral oil. Mix those together and you essentially have your own leather conditioning waterproofing. But regardless, they're still going to get wet. The water doesn't bead off of them. These are going to get wet and they will get cold. Now, I've gotten these things soaked. I haven't gone through the water with them. I'm not going to do that. There's no point. I'd rather just take my boots off. But I've gotten these things soaked, and your feet don't really get cold as much as they get, your feet don't really get wet as much as they get cold. You're not going to feel a lot of the moisture on the inside, but you'll definitely get a little chill on there. So that's what where the wool socks come in. So let's look at the tread. That's some hefty tread there. There's really not a lot to talk about with the tread. I mean, you can see that's a good amount there. That's probably ½ an inch of tread. And these things like to pick up rocks, and I'm always walking the riverbed, so it's something to think about. They're really flexible, which is what I'm looking for. I don't like shoes to begin with, but if I'm going to wear something, I'm going to wear them to be lightweight as possible. And these things weigh, I mean, 2.5 pounds maybe. They can't weigh much more than that. So really, that's all there is to these boots. They're really simple, lightweight, flexible, as minimal as you're gonna get for a hiking boot. And I can't think of a better boot out there. Unless you're just, you know, trekking in the snow or something like that. I would suggest these boots any day. Now, they don't have a steel toe. That's something to think about for some people. But I'm not gonna be messing with, you know, 2-ton trees or anything like that that's gonna go crushing my toes. So that's essentially my review on these Palladiums. I love these boots. I've had them for a while now. I've worn them a lot. You can see they're getting pretty tore up. And they're not really showing much wear other than lightening of the leather. And that's about it. They're nice and soft, they're nice and flexible, they're really light. And that's what I was looking for in a boot, so that's why I got them. And in our weather here in Texas, I don't think that there's a better boot out there. Put on some wool socks in the winter, put on some, you know, if you'd like, you can wear wool socks during the summer, and which I normally do anyway. But you can't beat these boots. 100 bucks on Amazon, they're worth it. Thanks for watching. More because of the thickness of the blade, which, by the way, this is, I believe, 3/16.